Hello everyone, this is The Question, and this is going to be slightly different than my normal haul or collection videos, and instead I'm going to kind of show everything I read from January 2021, which was when I first really got back into reading and collecting manga, up through the end of January 2022. So I got this idea from Manga Sloth, another manga YouTuber who is great that you should follow, who did kind of a similar one of these videos for everything he read in 2021. And then he mentioned he got the idea from Toni's Manga, who is another manga YouTuber that I haven't watched any of her videos, but now I'll have to check out. And I guess that's who he got the idea from. So I've never used Tier Maker before, so this should be, it's an interesting looking, site and thing to use, so I think this should be kind of fun. I've got the standard categories here, S, A, B, C, D, F. So S is kind of your S tier, top of the line, my absolute favorite books. A, still fantastic, but not quite S. B, really good. C, I generally like most stuff, so you'll see a lot of C. C's kind of middle of the road, good, okay books. D is usually books I've dropped. F will be worst of the worst. Kind of rare that anything's going to be F. I don't generally read a bunch of, I'm not reading series that I think that I'm just going to hate. So you're probably not going to see a lot of F. And then these are in order of the oldest I've read to the most recent. So we're going to start with Uzumaki, which is kind of the first. I purchased the hardcover of that. That was kind of what got me back into reading manga. That was Junji Ito was someone who, 15, 20 years ago when I was reading American comics, the manga that I was reading also, Junji Ito, Death Note, those were kind of some of the big ones that I was reading. And so I reread some of the Junji Ito that I had already read at the start of 2021. And then that's kind of when it spiraled and I ended up buying a ton of stuff. So if you haven't watched any of my videos before, just going to do a quick introduction. I am 43 years old, which in manga collecting reading terms is like absolutely ancient. This is a young person's thing usually, but I really enjoy reading manga. I really enjoy collecting manga, and I feel like I have a pretty eclectic kind of taste in manga, so you're going to see stuff from pretty much all different types of genres. If I had to say a genre that I generally don't care for or that I least like, it's probably your average like kind of shonen action series. You're kind of, Naruto, Dragon Ball. Like, I don't hate these series. I just generally get bored of volume of fights. Like, fighting constantly is not really my thing. So that's probably the one category that I'm not that into. But good stuff is good stuff. So there's definitely stuff in that category that I do enjoy. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so Uzumaki, as you'll see, a lot of Junji Ito stuff here to start. I'm going to put Uzumaki in A. I'm going to kind of rank stuff in between, in between the categories too. So I'm going to then go with Geo and then Tome. So these are kind of the three big name Junji Ito books. Kind of, when people talk about Junji Ito, these are kind of the three classics. I enjoy them probably in this order. All three are great. Highly recommended series. And then here we have Junji Ito's Cat Diary. So if you don't know, if you haven't watched any of my videos, I absolutely love cats. And that combined with Junji Ito, this book hits my S tier. I really love this book. I have the paperback and then the recently released hardcover also. Then we have, let's see, then we have Shiver. This is a Junji Ito short story collection. This is a really good one. I'm going to put this one in B. I'm going to put Ramina, another Junji Ito. This is not a short story collection. This is like an actual, one big story. Really good. I think Manga Sloth had put this in his F category, which brought tears to my eyes when I saw that. But yeah, I have it here at B. Next, we have What's Michael Fat Cat Collection. Dark Horse released 2 volumes of this, volume 1 and 2. I've only actually read through volume 1. This is kind of like a manga version of like Garfield. It's kind of like slice of life, kind of standalone stories. Really enjoyable, but nothing absolutely spectacular, so it's going to go in my C category. And then we're going to go, some of these older ones, like it's going to be very hard for me to remember like specifics, like for me to remember exactly what stories were different in Love Sickness, the short story collection, compared to Fragments of Horror, the Junji Ito short story collection. So trying to remember that is going to be a little tough. Also, if there's any books here that you want to know more about, because I'm going to not try to spend 2 hours on this video, just let me know in the comments and I can kind of give you some more background. So we have Smashed. I'm going to put that here. Then we have Cats of the Louvre by Taiyo Matsumoto. I absolutely love this book, so I'm going to put this in the S rank. I can't recommend that enough. Obviously, Matsumoto, fantastic artwork. Just a great book. Then we have Fragments of Horror by Junji Ito. This was probably my least favorite of the story collections that they've done, so I'm going to put this one in C. Then we've got Dissolving Classroom, which is getting a hardcover sometime here shortly. I'm going to put that in B. Frankenstein. So I really enjoy Frankenstein, so I'm going to put this maybe there. Junji Ito did an adaptation of Frankenstein, which is in this hardcover, along with some other short stories. Then we have Venus and the Blind Spot. I'm going to put this up here. Like I said, I can't really remember too much the difference between all these stories. But yeah, so I'm going to put that there. Love Sickness is another good one. Put that there. So yes, very Junji Ito heavy. Obviously, when I got back into manga, the first thing I did was buy like every Junji Ito book and start reading through them. Same thing here. I loved the Death Note anime, and I had owned the manga previously. So I re-got these black editions, and I really love Death Note, so that's going to go up here in the S class. It has its faults, but yeah, still, in my opinion, one of the best. Then we've got No Longer Human by Junji Ito. This might be my favorite of the Junji Ito, other than, I don't know why it's not, but there we go. Other than Cat Diary. So yeah, so I'm going to put No Longer Human. This is a manga adaptation of the novel. There's another adaptation of this by a different creator who I can't remember the name of, but his version has been out of print for a while, and it's now getting reprinted, so I'm looking forward to being able to compare the two because I really enjoy this Junji Ito one. Next, we're moving on to Paradise Kiss by Ayazawa, I think is how you pronounce it. And so I read through this all-in-one of Paradise Kiss. I think I'm going to put this at top of B. Really good. I really enjoyed it. This is also the creator of Nana, a series that I'm looking forward to, hopefully more volumes being in print this year. Then we have The Drifting Classroom by Kazuo Umez. I like The Drifting Classroom. I read through all 3 of the hardcovers. I didn't love it. I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to, so I'm going to put that in the C category. It's, it's a little much. Like when you're reading through all three of the hardcovers, like I mean, it's like one kind of big thing happens to all of the group, and then like they've solved it, and then like 10 minutes later, another giant thing happens to them all. So it's just like a spiraling bunch of bad situations over and over and over again. I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. I thought this would be like in my A tier, but it's some people love it, so definitely give it a shot if you like kind of horror stuff. He had a big influence on Junji Ito, so I enjoyed it, but I'm just putting here a C tier. Then we have She and Her Cat by Makoto Shinkai. I didn't like this that much. I'm going to put it bottom C tier. Then we have Satoshi Kon's Opus. I'm going to put this as low B tier. Satoshi Kon, obviously a really famous anime director, more known for that than his manga. I definitely think he's I read through all of his manga this year, and Opus was probably the only one I really liked. The rest of them were just average, below average. But his movies are obviously, definitely way better as a director than he was as a manga creator. So I can see why he ended up and switching over. And then we have Pluto. So Pluto, I'm going to put at the absolute top. Naoki Urasawa is my favorite manga creator. And Pluto is one of my absolute favorite series. If you haven't read this, definitely check this out. And next we have Planetes, I think is how you pronounce this. This is by the same creator, Makoto Yukimura, that does Vinland Saga. So most people probably know him from Vinland Saga. This was an older series of his, and this is one of the best series I've read. So definitely check it out. It's out in like 2 kind of oversized volumes. Definitely pick that series up. Great series. Next we have my introduction to Shuzo Oshimi. We have Blood on the Tracks. I've read through I think the first 6 volumes of this, and this got me collecting most of his other work. So I'm going to put this at A tier. I think I'm going to put it right there. Really great series. Then we have My Broken Mariko. This is a one-shot kind of book by Waka Harako, who I haven't read anything else from, and this was really good. So I'm going to put this high B. Same with The God's Lie, which is by Kiori Osaki. This was a really good one-shot, and I'm going to put this kind of in a similar spot, high Bs. Shino Can't Say Her Name. So this is a one-shot by Shuzo Oshimi. This is probably the less good thing that I've read by Shuzo Oshimi. I'm going to put it low C's. It was okay, nothing special. Next I read through all of the perfect editions of Monster by Naoki Urasawa. Can't recommend this series enough. Just a fantastic kind of mystery story. Great artwork. So Monster is going to go up here. I'm going to put this at the top of the S class. Okay, so next we have A Girl on the Shore by Inio Asano. I read through a lot of Inio Asano's books. I collected a bunch of his stuff over the last year. A Girl on the Shore was the first one that I read this year, and it is by far the worst. So I'm going to put it... I kind of want to put it in D, but I think I'm going to leave it as like low C. Then we have Strange Tale of Panorama Island. This is a really gorgeous hardcover. Fantastic artwork. I'm going to put this in the A category. I'm going to put it right there. If you like really bizarre manga, check that out. Then we have Ristorante Paradiso. This is by Natsume Ono. I really like her artwork. I've read a lot of her short story stuff. You'll see later on down here I did read one for ongoings, but I do, like I said, I really enjoy her artwork. I'm gonna put this in the B range. This is a one-shot, and then there was like a sequel series, Gente, or a prequel series, which is a 3-volume series that I haven't read yet. And next we have Sneeze, which is a short story collection by Naoki Urasawa. This is probably lowest of the things of his that I've read, so I'm going to put this at the bottom of the B tier. There's like a lot of short story collections. There's some good stuff, there's some mediocre stuff, but yeah, I'm putting it bottom B. And then we have Mujirushi, which is a one-shot story by Naoki Urasawa, and I'm going to put this in the B tier also. I don't know, I'm just going to put it right there. And then we have The Dangers in My Heart. So I only read volume 1 of this. I didn't hate it, but it was instantly obvious that this was not for me. I wasn't going to continue this, and so I sold it off. So that goes in the D category. Then we have Danza, which is an old short story collection by Natsume Ono. This one is just okay, so I'm going to put it kind of in the mid C's. Then we have some, let's see here, some Moto Hagayo. We have Otherworld Barbara. I read through the volume 1 and 2 hardcovers of Otherworld Barbara. I finished the first volume, and I was like, I really have no idea what's going on in this series. And then about a quarter of the way through the second volume, I was like really enjoying it. So a really good series. So I'm going to put this high B's. I'm going to put it like right there. Then we have Beyond the Clouds. So these 3 volumes, I think, were all out in English like 2018, 2019. And so volume 4 hasn't came out yet. So I've read through the first 3 volumes. If you like kind of Studio Ghibli type stuff, this has a similar vibe to that. I've really enjoyed this series, so I'm going to also put this in the high B's. But yeah, we just need more. Then we have another one of those Satoshi Kon books that I mentioned. We have Tropic of the Sea. I'm going to put this low C's. And then same here with Seraphim, a lot of numbers, and then Wings. I'm going to put that low bottom C's. Like I said, these aren't bad. These are just, I didn't connect with them as much as I thought I would. Then we have The Golden Sheep, which is by Kaori Osaki. This is a 3-volume series. I read through all of this. I'm going to put this in high B's. Then we have another Moto Hagayo book. This one is A Prime, I think is how it's pronounced. This is a really good book. Hard to get your hands on, but I am going to put this at low A's. Then we have Dream Fossil, which is a short story collection by Satoshi Kon. And this again, I'm gonna kind of just put all 3 of these bottom C's. I'm hanging on to all of the Satoshi Kon books. I'm not getting rid of any of them, but yeah, these 3 I probably will not go back to. Then we have Komi Can't Communicate. So I have most of the series, but I was missing volume 6 for the longest time, so I only read, I think, the first 3 volumes. So this year I'm looking forward to actually reading through more of this. I did like it. I enjoyed it, didn't love it. So I'm going to put it high C for now. But like I said, I haven't actually read it past volume 3. So, but I do now own, I think, the first 16 volumes. So I got plenty to try out. Then we have a story that I very rarely cannot finish a manga. I could not finish this one. It was that... it was incomprehensible. There was just so much nonsense going on. Yeah. So this is Hard Boiled Stories from the Cat Bar. Obviously, I bought this because it has cats in it. Kind of your detective noirish type story. But yeah, it just made absolutely no sense. I think I read maybe halfway through, and I tried to force myself to finish it, but I couldn't. So it got traded away a long time ago, so it is in the F category. Then we have A Drunken Dream and Other Stories, which is kind of a short story collection by Moto Hagayo, and I absolutely love this, so I'm going to put this high A's there. Then we have one of the harder to find things that I have, and that is 4 shoujo stories. This is an old Viz short story collection. It has Moto Hagayo, it has Kiko Nishi, so more female creators. When the popularity of female creators was less, kind of less well known, there was less of that kind of being popular in English, especially. So this is a short story collection just featuring female creators, and this is a really good introduction to all of these creators that are in this collection. So I'm going to put this as I'm going to put it low A's along with A prime. Then we have Orange. So I read through the 2 volumes of the complete collection, and then Orange Future over this last year. This is a really good series, really good kind of romance book. I'm going to put this low A's. Then we have Censor. This is another book that Manga Sloth put in his F category, which brought tears to my eyes. Censor is fantastic. The artwork is amazing. The story is great. I'm going to put this as... I'm actually going to put this one very high B's. I'm going to put it right there. And then this series, I never hear anybody ever in my life have I heard anybody talk about this series or have read this series. This is Yuzu the Pet Vet. It is just had its final volume, which I think was volume 7. So I've read the first 6. I've been putting off reading volume 7, even though I got it a couple weeks ago. I love this series. Just a really great series. It's all ages. It's basically about this small child who joins a family member's vet practice and basically works there. And it kind of just shows you all the stuff that goes on in a vet office and having pets and all that kind of fun stuff, along with some sad and depressing stuff. So if you love pets and animals, definitely check this out. It does look very cutesy and kitty, but yeah, this 43-year-old guy really enjoyed it, so give it a shot. I'm going to put it as top of the A's. Next we have Happiness by Shuzo Oshimi. So I did read all of this. This was the first series of his that I read all of. So I'm going to put this in the high B's. I'm going to put this right here. That is a really good series. If you like Shuzo Oshimi, this is basically his vampire book. Then we have Keep Your Hands Off. I don't know how to pronounce this. Is this Izuken? We'll say. But it doesn't really matter because this was the most surprising book to me because this looked like a series that I would absolutely love. Yeah, I could not finish this book. The dialogue and the way it was written, I absolutely, the characters talking, I hated this book so much, which is rare for me. So these two are pretty much my only books that I could tell. This book was weird because I could tell within the first 5 pages that I was not going to have, that this book was not for me. It was pretty quick, and I couldn't even make it a halfway through before I was like, no. So that immediately got traded in, which was disappointing. Then we have, this is a short story collection. There are 2 volumes of this. It is called A Perfect Day for Love Letters. And then the creator is George Asakura. I picked this up just because I thought it looked different, and it's enjoyable. The short story, there's some hidden miss stories. But yeah, it was a good read. I'm going to put it kind of there in the C category. Then we have Little Leo. This is a more recent Moto Hagayo release. This had been postponed for a while and finally came out a couple months ago. Kind kind of this story about little Leo, who's a cat, who's basically a human version of a cat. You know, he kind of wants to be a little boy and acts like a little boy. Goes to school and all kinds of cool, fun stuff like that. So I'm going to put this high B's. This is a really good story. Next, we have Satan's Secretary. So I only have, well, there is only, as far as I know, volume 1 of this. This volume came out in 2018, I think, in English. And then no other volumes ever came out. So I assume the series got canceled. And I didn't know that when I bought this volume. I was like, oh, this is a new volume. I'll check it out. I found it at a used place. And then I found out there was no more. So it is, I did enjoy it. I would probably have bought a volume 2. I didn't love it. So I'm going to put it, like right here in the C category. Then we have Love Song. So Love Song is a short story collection by Kiko Nishi, one of the creators that is in that for shoujo stories, which is why I picked this up. This is another old Viz release. And so this was good, not great. I'm going to put it kind of here in the C's. Then we have Die Dark. So there's, I think, 3 volumes of this have come out so far by Kyu Hashida. I have slowly been collecting Dorohedoro. I have not read it yet because I was missing 2 and 3 and 23 like a lot of people. But 2 and 3 came back in stock, so I now have those. I still don't have 23. But I did read through the first 2 volumes of Die Dark, and yeah, it's fantastic. Her artwork is great. Storytelling is great. But I just haven't read more, so I can't put it kind of S tier or anything like that because I've only read 2 volumes. But I'm definitely going to put it A tier. I want to put it like right here. Can't recommend that enough. Then we have What a Wonderful World by Inio Asano. This is an older Inio Asano series. Volume, I can't remember, either volume 1 or volume 2. One of the 2 is out of print or harder to find. The other volume is in print and easier to find. So, but I do manage to get both of these. I'm going to put this as low C. Kind of put it right here. Then we have Parasite. Parasite is a pretty well-known manga series. Hitoshi Owaki, I think is how you pronounce it. It is getting a new color hardcover release, I think, here shortly. Well, not shortly, but got announced recently, so will be coming out sometime. Probably in the next year. So I read through all of Parasite for the first time, and this was really great. Very similar kind of horror, psychological horror. If you like Junji Ito, definitely check out Parasite. I'm going to put it as low A. Then we have Neo Parasite. So there's a Neo Parasite F and a Neo Parasite M. And these are basically kind of short stories in the Parasite universe by different creators. And these are very hit and miss. The Moto Hagayo one being my favorite, but for the most part, most of these were not really needing to be made. So I enjoyed this, but it's not anything you need to rush out to get unless you're like, I need more Parasite stuff in my life. So I'm going to put this as kind of low C, maybe right about here. Then we have Princess Jellyfish. So Princess Jellyfish is the first box set I bought, and I read through that. It's by Akiko Higashimura. My pronunciations are not great, so if I'm mispronouncing stuff, please forgive me. But I did read through this whole box set this year. The first few volumes were fantastic. The middle, I kind of felt like it was kind of dragging on, but then those last 2 omnibus volumes were fantastic. It ended great. I really enjoyed this series, so I'm going to put this high B's. I'll put it right here. Then we have A Man and His Cat. So this is like the first ongoing that really hooked me. I've read through all 5 volumes. Volume 1 was like one of the first volumes that I picked up along with these early Junji Ito books. But yeah, so it's here because I think I went by the last volume that I read. So I've read through the first 4 of this series, and yeah, I love everything about this series. This is one of my favorite ongoings. So this is going S tier. I'm going to put it like right here. Definitely check out A Man and His Cat. Fantastic series. Then we have Solonen. So I had already read, this is a reread. I had read this many years ago, probably back when it first got released in English. And this is one of my favorite Inio Asano books. So I'm going to put this in the A series, in the A tier. Let's put it like, I'm actually going to put it at the top of A. So I'm going to put it right there. So we're getting there. Okay, so next we have Reptilia. This is another Kazuo Umez book. And this was a harder to find kind of IDW English release. And I didn't love this one either. This is another one that I thought was just okay. So Drifting Classroom, Reptilia. I'm kind of in the minority when I haven't really loved either of these two. I mean, I think they both have been fine. But yeah, they haven't like blown me away like I was hoping they were going to. So I'm going to put Reptilia kind of near the back of C. Then we have Boys Run the Riot. So by Kito Gaku. This is only a 4-volume series. The 4th volume just came out recently. I've read the first 3. This is another one that I was very surprised that it was ending at 4. I thought it was going to be a longer series, and yeah, so I've kind of avoided reading the 4th volume because I didn't want it to end. This is just a really great series. So this is going in my S category. One of my favorite ongoings. It was one of my favorite ongoings. Now it's ended, so it goes S. Then we have Magician A. This is by Natsuko Ishi Tetsuyo. Not sure how to pronounce that. This is a lesser known book. I found this in someone's collection video, I think on Reddit, and picked it up. I think I got this through Glacier Bay Books, which is a smaller independent site. And the artwork is very different, kind of than your standard manga. This is a very adult book. There's a lot of adult content in it, but just a very, very weird but very good story. So I'm gonna put this high B's, like right there. Then we have Asadora, which is the current ongoing by Naoki Urasawa. I think it's up to volume 4 or 5. I've read everything so far. This is great. I don't know if it's going to be S tier yet. We've still, like most of his books, they kind of are slow moving at the start. So we haven't really got into everything yet. But I'm going to put it kind of right here in the A category. Then we have Witch Hat Atelier. Let's say it's pronounced that way. I think I've read through the first 8 volumes of this, so I think I'm fully up to date. This is a fantastic series. If you like some of the best, I'm not going to say some of the best. This is the best artwork of any manga that I've read in this year. And for it to be an ongoing, and the artwork to look this good is pretty amazing. I love the world. Yeah, it's it's kind of a witch world. It's kind of similar to, kind of a, just to boil it down to, a generic, it's kind of a Harry Potter-ish kind of world. There's child wizards, but the way that they do magic and everything in this world is just really, really, really sucks you in. Like, I just really enjoy this story, so I'm definitely looking forward to where this goes. So this is an S tier book for me. I'm going to put this right here as one of my favorite ongoings. Then we have Helter Skelter, which is a one-shot. Helter Skelter, Fashion Unfriendly. This is by the same creator of Pink. If you've heard of that, it's probably the creator's more well-known book. I have not read Pink yet, even though I own it. This was a really good book, a really good story. I'm going to put this high B's. Put that there. Then we have Portis. This is a horror one-shot by June Abe. I think is how you pronounce it. This I just saw on Amazon one day. It was cheap. I think it was like $7. And it looked, it's got some weird stuff on the cover. I was like, oh, I'll check this out. I haven't really heard too much about it. It is okay. I'm going to put this low C's. It's not anything special, but not bad. Then we have an Inio Asano hardcover. We have Nijigahara Holograph. This is probably one of his more, less popular works. I don't really hear a lot of people talk. It's not on the level. You don't hear this talked about like Pun Pun or Solanin. But this was a good book. A good kind of one shot. I'm gonna put it in low B's. So let's put it like right here. Then we have Skull Face bookseller Honda-san. There are 4 volumes of this. If you've worked retail at any point in your life, I highly recommend you check this series out, even though it's kind of specific to Japanese manga bookstores, but you can definitely relate to it. It's just a really fun, kind of cute slice of life series. I'm going to put this kind of mid B's. Let's put it right there. Summer Wars Part 1 and 2. This is I think was based on an anime movie. I don't think the manga came first. I think this is one where the manga came after the anime, if I'm not mistaken. But I have not watched the anime. I don't watch too much anime these days. But yeah, this was a good series. I enjoyed it. Didn't love it. I'm gonna put it kind of high C's. Then we have Claudine by Ryoko Akita. This is a very small one-shot. It's a very small volume. This is by the same creator of Rose Liver Size, which I have the hardcovers for that I plan on reading sometime this year. This was a very good one-shot. I'm going to put this in kind of middle B's. I'm going to put it like right there. Then we have Pompo the Cinephile. This was just one of those random pickups that I saw on the shelf at Barnes & Noble that I never heard anybody talk about. I think there's 2 volumes of this out now. I only read volume 1, so I have a very limited reading of this series. But I really enjoyed volume 1. It actually went way farther in this volume than I was expecting. I expected it to be long form about the story, and it actually kind of wraps up kind of the original story all in this first volume. So I was surprised that there's more volumes coming. So I'm going to put this mid B's. Then we have another kind of one that you don't hear a lot of people talk about, and that is The Witch and the Beast. This has some really great artwork, really great series. I think I've read through the first 6. I think there's either 7 or 8 that are out currently. So I'm going to put this. I'm going to put this in the high B's. So we'll put it like right there. I don't know how many volumes that is going up to. It doesn't seem like one that's going to be like running for like 20s. I'm going to say probably like maybe 10 or so seems like an ending point for it. Then we have one that most people have probably heard of, Mashal, Magic and Muscles. I've read through the first, I have the first 4. I think I've only read through the first 3. And I really enjoy this. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and this is kind of like a parody of that. I've heard people say it's a parody of that mixed with One Punch Man. I have not read any One Punch Man, so I'll take the word for it. But yeah, I really like the artwork. It's kind of simplistic, but enjoyable. I like the characters. Just a really, really fun series. I recommend this. I'm going to put it I'll put it mid B's for now. Then we have All My Darling Daughters. This is a kind of one shot, not really a short story collection, more of a one shot with related stories. And this is by the same creator of Oku, the ongoing, which I think is still going, or just ended. So this is by Fumi Yoshinaga. This is an older Viz release. This is good. I'm gonna put it kind of, let's put it here in the low B's. Okay, so we're getting there. Not too much left. So we're starting to get to the more recent stuff that I read. So we have here Children of Mootown. This was kind of a smaller Glacier Bay pickup. I did not enjoy this that much. I mean, it's okay. Nothing great. I'm going to put it very low C. Then we have Zom 100. So Zom 100 Volume 1 I thought was okay. I had already pre-ordered the second and third volumes. Usually I like to give 3 volumes to give the series a chance. And this was another one of those ones that I didn't hate it. I could immediately tell it wasn't for me. But I did read through those 3 volumes. They're pretty easy reads. So I then traded it off to someone who I think would enjoy it more than me. So I'm going to put it in my D category. So Psalm 100, I gave it a shot, read through 3.5, I think, volumes. But yeah, the type of humor, just not my style. Then we have The Ancient Magus Bride. So I actually got all this series used at a couple used bookstores, and I read through the first, I can't remember the number. I think there's 15 volumes out, not counting side stories. And I read through all that. The first half is probably the best part of the series. I think like once it gets to kind of the college arc, it kind of gets less interesting. There's a ton of characters. It's kind of hard to, even me reading it straight through, I kind of binged it. It was kind of hard to keep track of who was who and what was going on. So even though I enjoy this, I'm going to put this in kind of mid C's. I think I'm going to put it like right here. I think it's on a hiatus right now. Then next we have Goodnight Pun Pun, or Poon Poon, however you want to pronounce that. This is kind of the most famous Inio Asano book. I read through all of these once I finally got them all in. A lot of them had been back ordered. And this is a really good series. I gotta say, it's not going to be S tier for me. I didn't like it as much as a lot of people do. Some of Inio Asano stuff can be overly, I don't know how to say this, kind of depressing or negative, that I have a hard time connecting to, where his characters really kind of just are like, just constant malaise is kind of the feeling I get from a lot of his characters. So I'm going to put this in the B category. Put it like right there. But yeah, great artwork. Definitely recommended. I mean, I see a lot of people have this in their S tier, and I am not there. I mean, like I said, Solanin to me is my top tier of Inio Asano books, but still really good. Mermaid Saga. So I read through the 2 hardcovers of this. This I enjoyed. I'm going to put in the B category. I want to put it like right about here. It can get a little repetitive, like kind of each story, like they're going to another area, they found someone else who's a mermaid, they gotta solve whatever mystery is going on. So it can get a little repetitive in the kind of short stories that are all about kind of the same mermaid stuff. Then I also bought and read through all of Sailor Moon of the Eternal editions this year. So I read through all 10 volumes of Sailor Moon Eternal Edition, and I'd say probably Volume 1, if I just had read Volume 1, I would probably have this in the B's. But by the end of it, I'm going to say probably low C. I actually sold this off, the whole series off, because I know I wasn't going to reread it. So I don't have any, I didn't have any previous, I hadn't watched the anime, I hadn't read any of the manga previously, but I wanted to give it a shot. It always looked interesting to me, at least the anime did, with all the bright colors, the different characters. So obviously the manga, being black and white, doesn't have that. And probably the disappointing thing to me about this manga was that, like how I said before, kind of just constant action, constant fighting really doesn't do it for me. And that's through these 10 volumes. That's basically what this is. You have like maybe 1 or 2 pages of characters interacting, and then it's like, then there's already the next end of the world kind of battle that has to go on. So then there's just nonstop fighting and moves and knowing all the moves and fights, and it's kind of hard to tell different characters apart in this black and white. And there's, you end up getting a lot of characters. So I didn't hate this series. I enjoyed my read through, but it's not something I was ever going to go back to. I could definitely tell that. So I figure I would pass this along, and I got rid of it on Reddit and sold to someone who can enjoy it more than me. So I'm going to put that low C's. Then we have Boy Meets Maria. This is a really good one-shot by, I think it's Peo, is how the creators, the manga creators, is pronounced. And when I was reading up on this to see what else they had created, the person passed away. So this was a young creator. I don't know how they passed away, but I can't recommend this enough. This was a really great one-shot, and I'm going to put this in my A tier. I'm actually going to kind of put it like right here. We have Go-Go Monster by Teo Matsumoto. This really needs a reprint by Viz. This is an out-of-print, older Teo Matsumoto release in a nice hardcover with a slipcover. And I'm going to put this in high B's. So we'll put this here. Then we have Maiden Railways. This is a short story collection, kind of where all of the stories are based on characters interacting on, obviously, the railways. So kind of romance stories. And this was an enjoyable read. I'm going to put this at low B's. Then we have Berserk. So I had never read any Berserk before. I had watched some of the original anime a long time ago. I had played the Dreamcast game back in the old Dreamcast days, but I had never read the manga, and I had enough people recommend this series to me, and it's kind of like considered one of the top tier manga series, and so I expected that I was probably not going to like it as much as most people did, and I was pleasantly surprised. This is probably the best manga series I've ever read. I read through all of the hardcovers that are out, so the first 9, and Kentaro Miura does really good action scenes. Like this is definitely the best action scenes that I've seen in any manga. Like it's really easy to tell what's going on. It goes fast. It's just wonderful artwork, wonderful storytelling. I'm definitely putting this S tier. I think I'm going to put it right behind Monster. But yeah, just a fantastic, right in front of Monster. This is a fantastic series. I can't recommend this enough. Obviously, you don't need to hear that from me. Everybody knows about Berserk. Then we have Downfall by Ennio Sano. This was one of the first things I ordered from Right Stuff, and it took like 6 months and it still wasn't in stock, so I ended up finding it locally and picking it up. This is a good Ennio Sano one-shot, not great. I'm going to put it in the B tier. I'm going to put it like right about here. Then we have Love and Focus. So I picked up this complete collection randomly. It is a kind of romance story about kind of a love triangle here. This was a really good story. I'm going to put this in the B's too. I'm going to put this like right about here. Then we have Deserter. This is the most recent Junji Ito short story collection. This has probably the most oldest of his works of any of these short story collections. You can definitely tell the first few in this book are, you can see how how it's not quite as refined as some of the more recent Junji Ito books that you might have picked up. So it's really weird when I see people mention that that this is the one. I've seen multiple people mention that this is a good first start for anybody picking up Junji Ito for the first time, and I would say the exact opposite. I'd say this is the last one that I would recommend. This is more for the Junji Ito hardcore fans that just kind of want all of his work, because I would say this is definitely the least easy to get into and the less. I would highly recommend Uzumaki or Geo or No Longer Human or anything, and any of the other kind of short story collections over Deserter. I'd say this is definitely the least good in my opinion. So I'm going to put this as low B's. Then we have Imenon. So I read through the first 3 volumes of, well, not the first 3, I think the only 3. I don't know if a 4th, they mentioned a 4th possibly coming, but I don't know. I think the in-between of these is about every couple years. But I read through the first 3 of these. The artwork's great. The story, I like the first volume the best, but overall it's a really good series. I didn't connect with it as much as I thought I was, but still good. So I'm going to put it kind of low B's. Then we have Jujutsu Kaisen. So I had been waiting for some of the middle volumes of this for a while. So I had the first, I think, 9 or 10 before I actually started reading this. And yeah, so I read through the first 7. And just like Zom 100, this is a series that I didn't hate. It's just not for me. Like the first volume when they were introducing the characters, and that I enjoyed that one. But the farther it went on, where there's like whole volumes that are just one fight, and there's so much focus on like what each person's moves do, and then there's like kind of follow-ups from the creator in between each chapter talking about each move and why this move does that and why this move does that. My eyes are just glazing over at that point. So I went ahead and passed along that series to someone else, because someone who would enjoy that more. Then we have Nicola Traveling Around the Demon's World. So this is a 4-volume series that is completed. I love this series. This was a really great, cute kind of fantasy series about this girl who is a human and falls into the demon's world and meets this demon who kind of becomes her caretaker and leads her around and shows her the demon's world. They get into all kinds of adventures. The artwork is great. I can't recommend this enough. Definitely pick this up. I'm going actually to put this S tier right there. The Flowers of Evil complete. So this is Shuzo Oshimi's probably most famous work. And this was like I read Blood on the Tracks, Happiness, and Shino Can't Say Her Name before this. So I got to this a little later, and yeah, I read through all of the complete editions. And this was just a couple months ago, or maybe last month. And this is a really good series. I still think I prefer Happiness and Blood on the Tracks, but really good. Also, I'm gonna put this like right after Happiness. Then we have The Masterful Cat is Depressed Again Today. So this is a fairly newer series. I think only the first 2 volumes are out, and that's what I've read. This is a great series. It's cute. It's about this lady who adopts this cat who ends up kind of becoming this giant even for human size cat that basically takes care of her. He does all the house cleaning, all the cooking. He's kind of her emotional support. And yeah, it's just a slice of life, funny kind of comedy series. I highly recommend this one. I'm going to put this at low A's. Then, so we're getting down to the last 6. We have A Journal of My Father by Hiro Taniguchi. I've been wanting to get into his work for a while, and so I picked up a few of his books. This was the first one that I've read, and I definitely made the right choice. This is a fantastic kind of semi-autobiographical story of the creator's life and his relationship with his father. Really nice hardcover, really nice artwork, great storytelling, just a really great book. This is going to go into my A's. I think I'm going to put it like right about here. Love on the Other Side by Nagabe. So this is by the same creator as Girl from the Other Side, I think is how it's pronounced, or is the name of the title. but I hadn't gotten all the volumes, so I picked up the short story collection in the meantime, because his artwork looks great. And I don't really know how to feel about this book. This book leaves me very uncomfortable. There's kind of some gross stuff going on in this book. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of grooming, so it's basically like child characters having caregivers, or basically being like kidnapped, or being taken care of by adult animal-like characters that aren't their parents, and basically falling in love, both of them falling in love with each other. And that's like half of the short stories, 2/3 of the short stories in this collection. So it kind of made me feel awkward about wanting to read the other series that he created, just because of how kind of off-putting the short story collection is. That, like I said, the artwork's great, but it's just a very icky feeling reading these short stories. So I'm putting this in the low D's. Then we have ACCA 13, or ACA 13. This is the Natsume Ono actually ongoing completed series. So I read through all the volumes of this, along with all the volumes of the Sides series, which I think is called PS, is those 2 volumes. And yeah, so the artwork, like most Ono stuff, is great. The overarching story in this series is about like a coup. Less interesting. The characters are more interesting, even though there's way too many of them. PS kind of focuses on some of the side characters that I really had zero interest in. So the 2 PS volumes I enjoyed less. But overall, it's a fun book. Just the individual characters and kind of what they're doing is more interesting than the overarching story that's going on here. So I'm gonna put this middle C. Then we have Cezanne and Comet Girl. This is a one-shot story. This is in full color. This was a really great story. I really enjoyed this one. It's really fun. The character, they kind of really focus down on a small group of characters. Just a really great book. I'm gonna put this in my A. Then we have An Invitation from a Crab. This is by a creator called Panpanya. I have not read any of their books before. I don't know if it's the creator is male or female. But yeah, this was really great. This was, I think, was part of a Right Stuff sale recently or something like that, and I picked it up. But I really enjoyed it. So this is definitely going in my A tier. I'll put it right there. And then last we have Go with Grace. So this I kind of picked up because I thought the cover looked kind of grabbed my eye when I saw it at a used Half Price Books. And none of the Half Price books by me ever have anything of interest. I don't get lucky at them like a lot of people. So I picked this up, and this is actually not by a Japanese creator. This is by an American creator. But it was released by Tokyo Pop, and this is the only thing they released of his. But yeah, so this wasn't great. It's okay and nothing special. So I gave it a D, and I went ahead and put this. I already traded that, so. But yeah, this was the only release he had through Tokyo Pop. And that is it. So that is everything. As you can see here, here's my S tier, my A tier, lots of Bs. There's actually more Bs and Cs, which I thought would be more Cs. And then very little Ds and Fs. So not a lot of stuff that I got rid of or didn't care for that much. But yeah, that's it. So if you have any questions about any of the series, you want me to talk about anything, just let me know in the comments. I can go more into it. And yeah, what would you also in the comments, let me know what you guys would think is your S tier. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that disagree with my rankings. Jujutsu Kaisen is highly loved. Zom 100 is generally pretty loved. I'm sure a lot of people have those way higher in theirs. But yeah, this is my personal rankings. So, but yeah, I'm interested in knowing what your rankings are. So let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy my videos, like always, please like and subscribe. and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.